This is GARIS, Masculist, MGTOW flyers. 2 to 3 page essays on the themes of masculism and MGTOW. Written and read aloud by Prof. Dr. Hugo de GARIS. This is flyer number 194, entitled Confronting Feminazis. Description. This flyer imagines a bitter, hateful confrontation between a divorced single mother feminazi and a MGTOW masculist in a hamburger restaurant in the year 2020, once MGTOW masculist ideas have gone mainstream and women are very aware of the existence and threat of MGTOW masculist strategies. Now for the flyer itself. Confronting Feminazis. Imagine it's a few years into the future, say around 2020, and that MGTOW and masculist ideas have become mainstream, taken up by the broadcast media to such a point that nearly everyone is more or less familiar with MGTOW/masculist arguments, including women, so that women are capable of recognizing a typical MGTOW masculist when they see one. Imagine the following confrontation between a feminazi, in brackets, who is now a single mother, divorced, who financially massacred her ex-husband, taking his kids from him, his house, getting child support from him, and alimony, so that he now lives in his car. And a masculist that takes place in a fast fat restaurant, for example, a hamburger restaurant. Feminazi, looking at the MGTOW masculist. You're one of those MGTOWs, aren't you? One of those selfish men who don't help women raise families. You go your own way and don't care about raising the next generation. You're so selfish. You deserve to be shunned by women. Look at you. You're poor.
Your clothes are dirty and haven't been changed for days. You don't contribute anything to society. You are totally selfish and a real menace to society. Men like you are hated by women. We see you as the enemy. We hate you.
Masculist. Go fuck yourself, you feminazi bitch. Women like you are the most hated category of women for MGTOWs and masculists. Unfortunately for you, I'm a masculist, and I piss on fluffy feminist hypocrites like you and punish you by ignoring you to death. We masculists have the political goal, as you may have heard in the media, to wipe out man-slavery by wiping out fluffies and fluffy feminist hypocrites. I notice that you have kids and there's no man around. I bet you're divorced and got sole custody of the kids, that you took his house, that you get child support from him and maybe even alimony. Ah, I see from your blushing that you do get alimony. All those things make you hated by the masculists. You are vermin to us. You don't love men. You love men's exploitability. Well, we men hate being treated as cash machines to bloody fluffy parasites and rebel against the traditional man-slave role. We masculists are forcing fluffy feminazi hypocrites like you to get off your parasitic fluffy ass and fip up, become FIPs, financially independent persons, or rot on the shelf. You feminazis expect men to be man-slaves to you, so you can sit on your fat parasitic asses at home, raising your kids and have him pay for it all. Well, fuck you, lady, you manslaver, you contemptible parasite, you hated, immoral, manslaving, bloody fluffy. We masculists despise women like you and are working towards wiping you out by ignoring you to death. That's why you don't have a new man. Men have woken up. They know that women don't love them, that women only pretend to, but in reality love men's exploitability, as shown clearly by the treatment by fluffy bitches of their ex-husbands in the fluffy feminist-dominated divorce courts, financially massacring one married man in 4. That's 1 million men a year in the US, destroying their lives. I can see from the hatred in your eyes that you'd like to kill me. Well, the feeling is mutual. The only difference is that we masculists are actually doing that. That is, killing hundreds of millions of fluffies and fluffy feminist hypocrites bitches like yourself by ignoring you to death, wiping you out, forcing your fluffy parasite genes to be removed from the gene pool because we men have the financial power to kill off fluffies. A fluffy can only be a fluffy by getting her financial claws into some manslave, but thanks to us, by preaching to men about MGTOW and masculist ideas, we are causing men to reject the traditional man-slave role and become MGTOWs and masculists. There are hundreds of millions of us now, and we are changing society and soon the gender laws, making them fair to men. Women like you are dying off, thank God. Young women use you now as anti-models. They don't want to be like you because you've been rejected by men, punished by men. You're now a cat lady, manless, loveless, sexless, and hated by MGTOWs and masculists. Increasingly, you're being hated by young women because they see women like you have taken over the divorce courts and made them toxic for men. So it's not surprising 3/4 of young men now refuse to marry, refuse to have kids, and spend their money on themselves. They have good reason to hate women like you. These young women blame feminazi bitches like you for not being able to persuade young men to give them their sperm. So these young women are being made babyless as a result. Soon, you feminazi bitches will be hated not only by men, but by nearly all young women. The tide is solidly turning against you. New section. The other people in the hamburger restaurant were very quiet, listening to the articulate reasoning of the MGTOW masculist, and were lapping up every word. When he had finished, the restaurant exploded into heated conversation between the men and women in the restaurant, with the women taking mostly the woman's side and the men taking mostly the man's side, and with considerable passion from both sexes. This kind of sex war is coming. It's only a few years away, once society has become familiar with MGTOW masculist ideas. Then the hatred will build up. Feminazis will feel bitter that they are raising kids on their own. And the MGTOWs masculists will feel a hatred towards a society that treats them like shit. So they treat society, especially fluffies and fluffy feminist hypocrites, like shit too, ignoring them to death, wiping them out, removing their fluffy genes from the gene pool. I really think we will see such events frequently before 2020. I make this prediction. Cheers. Prof. Dr. Hugo de GARIS. Email profhugodegaris@yahoo.com. Email website profhugodegaris.wordpress.com. YouTube channel De GARIS Masculist MGTOW Flyers. Ciao.